Tonight, Arizona voters could be asked to decide whether death row inmates should face a firing squad. Lawmakers are debating whether to approve that measure for statewide vote as Arizona prepares for its first execution in 3 years next month.
12 News journalist Bram Resnick tells us that persistent problems with lethal injections are nudging states towards what one expert calls the least inhumane way to take a life. Bram?
Yeah, Mark, South Carolina is leading the way here. In just 2 weeks, the first execution by firing squad in the U.S. in 15 years is scheduled to take place there. Here in Arizona, the Republican lawmaker pushing for a statewide vote on firing squads says he's responding to the recommendation of an advisor fired by Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs. Arizona could soon join a handful of other states that impose the death penalty with a firing squad.
The firing squad is a faster, more humane method of execution than our current lethal injection practices.
Republican State Representative Alexander Colladin wants voters to decide whether to replace execution by lethal injection in the state constitution.
This is about taking the independent analysis that the taxpayers of this state have paid for and that Katie Hobbs has not been willing to take seriously.
Colladin was referring to Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs' firing of a retired judge she hired to review the state's death penalty procedures. The judge had advised using a firing squad.
We've seen too many people sentenced to death row later exonerated. The price for being wrong is too great.
Colladin's measure faced some opposition during a committee hearing.
You're asking officers to put themselves in a position to take another human life in exchange for low pay and no emotional support after they go through this.
Firing squads have been used since 1608 in colonial America, more than 4 centuries ago.
Death is certain, and it's relatively quick, and it's a known method.
Fordham University law professor Deborah Deno is one of the country's leading experts on execution methods.
We're the only country in the world that has 6 methods, so we're always experimenting.
Is the firing squad more humane than these other methods?
Well, to me, at least, it's the least inhumane, I think is probably the way to put it.
Now, the Republican-controlled House and Senate can put the firing squad question to voters without Governor Katie Hobbs' approval. If both chambers approve the measure, a vote would take place in 2026. Mark Griebe?
Bram, so who would actually carry out this? Who would be on the firing squad?
That's a really good question. A lot of unknowns, but in general, I'm told it would be volunteers, could be detention officers for the Department of Corrections who would carry it out. That is typically what happens. We don't know. We're a long way from that, but that's one of the questions they're going to have to answer.
All right, let the voters decide. Bram, thanks.